Quiet on this set. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Not so retired as I have been. Ah, wonderful to see you here on Mondays with Myrt, the first one of 2026. Boy, in all my promo work that I did earlier this week, I was still typing 2025. I may not be writing checks anymore. Usually took me till about March in the olden days to get to 2026 or whatever the New Year's numerals were. But I'm messing it up on social media. But somehow you managed to get here. I think the middle of Arkansas, the weather cannot make up its mind. Man, do I hear you. Shaker Heights. Well, that's not bad weather. Sounds pretty good. Warm there, Marcia, up in Kansas. Tony Proctor was saying something. Let me see if you can believe it. It's sunny in Ireland. No rain or snow. That must be a first, literally and absolutely and positively. Hi, Bill. So, Bill is up there in New York. He's one of our Substack blog posters. Let's put it that way. Very interesting. We have several things to be talking with you about. First of all, it's good to see you. There's our Valerie. Sherry's here, and Sherry is actually going to be on the panel. If she cuts out because of bandwidth issues, we'll be able to carry on, but she has a very interesting topic for us to be discussing. It's kind of soggy and wet over in Oceanside, California. Hi, Gwenny. Frank is here. Well, let me just introduce the panelists and we'll get it going here. All righty. So pull everybody up on the stage, if you would, please, Frank. Frank's our guy in Germany, and he is the co-host today. Hillary is leaving early. Hillary, our gal in Wales, you're taking a DNA course for how many weeks?
I'm doing a 12-week course on advancing your DNA skills. So I've obviously found some things using DNA, but I'd like to discover a bit more. So I've signed up for this course for 12 weeks.
I hear you. Okay, so that means she gets an early release. She gets a pink slip from me. You have permission to leave early. No, I'm just so happy whenever my panelists can show up because I know you each have busy lives and are so influential in the world of genealogy. Yeah. Oh, there's my friend. I'm going to be seeing you before too long. And hello from Cincy. I love Cincinnati. My sister-in-law lives in Milford. Milford. It's on the east side. That's all I know. Anyway, Randy's our guy in California. How's your mic? Let's hear it.
Still here.
He's still here. He's got an interesting lineup of his goals for 2026. I'm going to try not to have goals this year. Maybe I'll be successful at having no goals. Liv is here from Norway, our gal in Norway, and we have set up an interesting presentation. We're going to do her first, then our Sherry will come in and we'll take her topic second. Ellen and I have been fiddling back and forth with Amazon. I ordered a headset for her, and it came with a totally destroyed cover for her mic and very heavily frayed earphone covers. Gosh, I mean, it was obviously way more than used, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think it was stored someplace really warm, I think.
I don't know, but it's like a mess.
Yeah.
So a new set is coming, probably being delivered during this show. So if you disappear for a moment, we'll know what happened. But you bought replacement covers and a replacement mic cover.
Yeah.
So far so good. But
So far,
my
good.
thought was we need to get you one that for sure works because this wire could really make a
Yeah, I don't know
difference.
what would happen to that.
Yeah, that's for darn sure. Okay.
So far, so
Sh-
good.
yeah. Sherry's here. You may see her there. Jill is here. Thank you, Jill, for being here. How
No
are
problem.
things at Seattle Genealogical Society this weekend? Were you there?
I was there on Saturday, and we're having an open house this coming Saturday as well. So it'll be a fun kind of week. There was an honor event 2 nights ago for volunteers for SGS as well. So it's very
Yeah.
nice to be included in those kinds of activities.
Well, you're a published author, and that, but more than that, you're a big influence on those of us in the world of genealogy who are considering becoming certified. I'm not going to say the certifiable joke. I'm moving on. Okay. And Claire is here, and you came on the right link, and I'm really happy to see you. Claire, let me hear your mic because we missed you in the green room.
Oh, I'm here.
It's
That's what
working.
matters.
Okay. And so we're getting feedback. Milford isn't far from her at all, 15 minutes away. So if we ever go back east to visit with Mr. Myrt's sister in Milford, we will definitely have to come see you as well.
Well, that was fun before.
Yeah. And here is Miriam. We took a break over the she's my writing accountability person. She and I meet on Tuesday nights, and it's a good thing we canceled for the holiday season because we didn't have a holiday, we had a flood. 2/3 of our county was underwater.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I don't know if it's going to ruin our tulips and daffodils. Makes me wonder. The Skagit River, I had to go all the way into town. The Skagit River has actually changed its boundary, and there's now 2 channels that come to where the Swinomish Bridge is. And the new channel is dug into the hill. That's the force of the water and the debris that came down. And I'm talking all kinds of debris, trees, houses, yard, lawn furniture. It's a mess. Anyway, it's going to take a while to take care of that. And I'm being very flip about it. And that's because I don't want to cry about it. So anyway, all right. All right. So, Sherry, let's have everybody go to the wings except for Leave because her thing is working right now. So Leave, here's what we do on Mondays with Myrt. I don't dream up all these topics. My panelists and I have a shared Google Sheet. Those of you who are my regulars know this. And I can't keep up with everything. I have to pay attention to Mr. Myrt occasionally.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Take care of the Norwegians.
I know he is. Liv is our gal in Norway. She's the one that took us on a very personal tour of Norway when we flew over there. And Liv, I can never, ever repay that. It was such an experience to meet descendants of the creditors that Mr. Myrt's ancestors skipped town owing a lot of money to. We went to churches. We ate a formal meal. Everything. I digress. Let me share the screen with you guys so you can see what Liv has contributed for today's presentation. All right. So, Liv, you were doing some research. Well, you're always doing research, I think. But this is your grandaunt, and I want to talk with you about the difference, first of all, between grand and great aunt. I
Yes.
agree with you
I think we
that.
have discussed it on Mondays with Myrt 2 or 3 years ago, the difference or who said grand and who said great. But in the Norwegian language, it's grand.
Right,
So,
because they're at the grandparent level. They're the siblings of the grandparents of my, So my brother is Grand Uncle Mike, even though he'd like to be referred to as Great Uncle Mike. All right. I don't know why in the United States we call them great aunts or great uncles or something, because it just doesn't make sense. They're not at the great grandparent level. But I've digressed. That's not the point of your contribution today. Tell me about your blog post and what we're going to be doing at Ancestry.
I saw a webinar by Connie Knox. I often watch her recordings because I think she is very good.
You're from Ancestry, where...
Whoops. Let me share that. And Randy is my links guy, and he will share the link.
So I saw this one, and there's a new artificial intelligence feature, which is in conjunction with records. So if you go into Ancestry and look at the person's profile, and you open a record, it will tell you if you can explore to this record.
So you this apparently occurred while we were persona non gratas. And so I didn't see this because I also follow Connie Knox and think that we should all be paying attention to what she does, because she does get the latest, greatest news and then goes and explores it. And you did that at Ancestry and took this and inserted something in your write-up on your grand aunt. And Gunvar, is that how we say that?
Yeah.
Was that a pretty good Norwegian accent?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay, so I love blog posts where you have your pictures. I'm so glad they've survived. But anyway, what we're talking about is listening to this little segment. How did you get that?
So on this last screen you showed, there is a download button on the right there.
Yes.
On the right in the recording, there's a download button, and I downloaded the small recording.
Yep, it's an MP3. So let's talk about why we had trouble with the sound showing through. And so I'm not going to demonstrate how quickly the AI generated this based on the document of a New York arriving passenger and crew list.
Not all records. It's not possible with all records to download the recording. It's only those with transcriptions.
Okay.
I believe that was what Connie told us.
Yes.
So city directories for Gunvar is also available as a recording.
Okay, so when we initially came to this page, and you can see that I'm scrolling around on this page, I click the Ask AI, and this is called Ancestry QI beta. I don't know if you can see that. Shall I zoom in slightly?
But you can do it another way. You can.
I'm not moving off this screen yet.
No, okay. You can go from the recording and from the record to the recording.
So
it shows on the top of my blog post.
Okay.
You can see the picture there of how to do it.
Okay. So step by step, she's explaining how you might do this.
Yeah, mostly I tell the story because I just loved her. She was a very nice lady.
Yeah, let me pull this up. I can't click on it. It's embedded tightly. But this is what the screen looked like. The reason I'm not demonstrating this part, when we clicked on it initially in the green room, we couldn't get the sound to play for you, and we want you to hear the sound. But this is what it looked like. She gave me access, Leave gave me access to her tree as a collaborator. I went in and found this ancestor and then clicked on the New York passenger and crew list, and this is the page that came up, where you normally then click to view the image itself or view record, which that's really the transcript of just that entry for that one person. But then this is the queue, or it says AI, but it looks like a queue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You click listen and explore, and then you get this pop-up. And this paragraph is the transcript of what is recorded. And
I believe they have more information in the recording than they have in the transcript there.
Okay. All right. Well, let me play it so that you can hear it.
26. A woman named Gunvor Christensen stepped ashore in New York. She was 27, journeying from her home in Notodden, Norway, aboard the steamship Bergensfjord. Her destination was Chicago, where her brother Ragnar awaited. This wasn't just a visit. Gunvor intended to stay permanently, her sights set on becoming a U.S. citizen. The document paints a vivid picture. Her blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair complexion. She carried $40, a modest sum for starting anew. Behind her in Norway, her father Finn Christensen remained. His residence in Notodden marked the home she left behind. The 1920s were a time of change. America was a land of opportunity, drawing thousands seeking new beginnings. Like many immigrants, Gunvor's journey was a leap into the unknown, driven by hope and the promise of a different life.
Okay. Could everybody hear that? Did it work? Yay. Thank you, Frank. All right. So you then elected to download it, and then you just embedded it in your blog post.
Yeah. Yes.
And there are some interesting concepts here, or additions.
Even more recordings are made, like these 4 here.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just text?
No, you can click on them, and it's going to do something. It's going to tell us about Ellis Island.
Mm-hmm.
It says it's almost there. This is AI going live, and our topic here, Ellis Island arrivals. And very shortly, we should see it. Valerie's already saying she's excited to try this audio recording of her father's 1925 New York passenger list. Gosh, that's a pretty long one with citations. Wow. Okay, so it's not giving us sound, it's giving us the context in a narrative with citations at the end. That's interesting, isn't it?
It's value for money.
Absolutely incredible. Frank, reminds you a style of a bit like Google language models, but awesome to make it from the record set itself. It's cool. I found my Robin's great-grandparents in 1930. He was a mechanic of World War I vet. I like the summary of info that AI provides, along with links to the automobile industry, etc. Okay, let me close this and see what happens. Okay, so it actually works. Doesn't work on everything, does it?
No, it does not. I think the distinction is between transcribed or not.
Between whether or not a person subscribed or not.
No, if the record is transcribed or
Oh,
not.
how it's you gave me the link to Connie Knox's video exploration. Did that go out to the group, guys? Yes, thank you, Randy. Thumbs up.
So everybody who has got a subscription to Ancestry can do this.
Okay.
It's no everybody with a subscription.
Okay. And I had a question for you, and that was if you have it, now let's see if it'll pull this up. Nope. Don't have the option on that particular record set. So it's not every record set, but it's some record set. It's the beginning. This is beta. And this is pretty exciting to see this.
This is her daughter's birth certificate from Sweden, because they went back to Sweden for 3 years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the family story is that the kettle was on the stove when they left. They were in such a hurry.
Seriously? That sounds about as urgent as Mr. Myrt's ancestor leaving in the dead of night. Okay, here's the 1940 census. If that's an A, I'm crazy. All right, let's see how fast it can do it. I'm really pushing the limit here. So Liv, one of the things that I asked you, I know that you're in Norway and that's your Norwegian is your, see how quickly it came up. Norwegian is your native language. I'm listening to this in English. When you click to do this, are you hearing English or are you hearing Norwegian?
I'm hearing English.
Okay. All right, let's play this and see if y'all can hear this one.
From Norway to Roscoe Street.
Can you hear it?
This record brings the past close enough to touch. In 1940, Gunvor Bernstrom was living at 5843 Roscoe Street in Chicago, Illinois. At 41 years old, she was a...
Oh, you're right. The transcription isn't literal. It's an abstract because they gave a specific address in the recording and only put Chicago, Cook County, Illinois in this abstract. Okay. Anything else to question? I wonder what it would do on a 1850 census record that would predate this ancestor's birth, but an 1850 U.S. Census record where the family relationships are not listed. And if the AI assumes that the female about the same age as head of household male is the mother of all those children, or even one later where the census record does list the relationship of each individual in the household to the head of household. And, genealogists know to be careful and not assume that the wife is the mother of all of those children. She might be a second wife, particularly if there's a break in years between birth of children that was greater than normal. Anything else you want to tell me about this experience? I think this is marvelous technology.
Yeah, it's very good. It sure adds to the story. One can use it making the narrative.
Yeah. We've got something from Marcia who says, I just tried this. Thank you for trying it live. Just tried this with a Social Security record, and it tells when the female changed her name. That date isn't in the transcription. Yeah. And Frank says, darn it all, it's a bummer that the records I am searching at the moment aren't an ancestry. At least not yet. Okay, and Family History Hound is saying, this is homework for later. You know how that goes, Ellen.
But can't we ask somebody to do a 1850 listen and explore example for us for the next time?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. those of you who want to take up the challenge, try it on an 1850 or an 1870 or 1880 census and see what kind of analysis the Ancestry AI is actually doing. Very, very cool. Yeah, I agree with Marcia. Thank you, Lee, for bringing this to my attention because I was totally unaware of this. I am way behind in technology because of our flooding. Well, plus I've been quilting a lot, so gave me something to do. All right, let's switch gears. Thank you, Lee. Thank you. I'm so glad it worked.
Thank you for presenting and letting me present. And I hope you read the blog post, all of you listening, because Gunvor deserves to be get 1 day of fame.
Yep, absolutely. Especially these ones that we love so much, and you have a tender feeling, a tender relationship with her, and I'm glad that we could talk about her.
She has one grandchild in the U.S., Shelley Donahue, and she has got 4 daughters in the 30s, I think, late 20s or 30s.
So now, as you continue to share these stories and add an element of an audio file, add those photos. I mean, it isn't just please make a blog post and have at least one photo or image that represents that topic. With AI, we can make our presentations on behalf of that ancestor so much more dynamic. So thank you. Panelists, let's have you all come up on the panel. I want to know if anybody else has tried this. And also, I'd like to hear from those of you on the YouTube side. I want to know if you have done this as well. I think you and I are adding and subtracting the panelists. Let's get them up here. Anybody else tried this yet? Yes, Randy, speak.
Yeah, I did recently after Connie Knox's thing, and I finally figured out how to do it. It's not easy, and you have to have a linked image to the ancestry image to make it work.
It has to be.
All my sources
yeah.
were uploaded. They weren't ancestry sources. Okay, so once I figured that out, then I've been adding ancestry sources to my people, and then getting this to happen.
Okay,
you can copy that transcription or that analysis that appears at the top. You can copy that to the, frankly, to the note that you have in your ancestry member tree, and it will show up on your tree.
Mm-hmm.
Or
that would also be
Magic or wherever. Yeah,
that would be a great intro to in an email or a text message to your family members with the embedded MP3 file, etc. Or even just portions of that. We can take out the very last part is always find out more at ancestry.com, which is okay. I understand, but yeah, Valerie is saying.
And just to clarify, the A in that you thought was a QI, it's a lowercase script A.
Thank you.
Okay, as you would write in script.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's big. It's a
big lowercase.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that. No, that's an interesting distinction. That it has to be a record set from a record set that's part of Ancestry, not your own items that you've uploaded.
Yep.
Okay.
And it doesn't work for everyone. It worked for me for the 1940 census, but not the 1950 for some reason. So it may just be they've only done a limited number of sources at this point, and more will be added.
More of a rollout system delay.
Yeah, if we apparently all received the option to do it. but what's maybe limiting is the rollout to which record sets. In Connie Knox's video, she used one example of a find a grave, but that is an ancestry property, so that qualifies. Anybody else on the panel want to comment on this? Okay.
Will be interesting to see how the AI reacts to multiple records analyzed at the same time.
Yeah, that's
If
another
that even
level.
is possible with Ancestry's AI.
It'll be interesting to see how, I mean, we're going to, when we meet this time next year, this will be old hat. And
Yes.
what you just talked about, where it can correlate information from multiple documents, yeah.
I was wondering about Marcia's, where it changed about the females changing her name. Do you think that was something that they knew from another record, or was that hallucination, or why would that come out?
I don't know the source of that. I kind of wondered. Miles wanted to say something.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll just mention on MyHeritage, they had something similar to this, the Deep Story that they put out a couple of years ago, which it consolidated all of the records together and then used a picture of your ancestor speaking the information, and you could go in and edit it and add information to it.
And that could be including, so we need an amalgamation of that, of the MyHeritage technology and what's happening with Ancestry. Although, was MyHeritage confined to only what was in their record sets, or did it include what you uploaded?
It was what you had attached to the records,
Just
and then
attached.
what I did was I then incorporated the transcripts from the records that I added as part of the story.
Okay. By the way, it's so nice that you and Claire are in the same room. Look at your background.
On the left side, on the right side.
I love AI. Okay.
I just tried it, Myrt, just to let you know, and with a 1900 census on one of my orphans, and I got it within just a few seconds. I don't know yet if it's right or not, because I haven't listened to it because the mic was open, but I just wanted to let you know that I thought it was pretty simple. I just went to my public tree, I picked one of the documents, and then up came the AI piece. I clicked on it, and voila, I got it within a few seconds.
Yeah, mine takes longer because I'm on practically dial-up up here.
Yeah, right.
So thank you for that. Okay.
And I'm just down the street from Amazon, so we have very good connectivity.
You do. You make me so jealous. So Marcia says it hints at a marriage date, and Ruth Shepard became Ruth Redmond in September 1951. So, Marcia, are we saying that it is looking at that document plus the timeline?
Maybe.
That sounds like that's happening.
I think what Marcia is referring to was a marriage register or a marriage license, and
so that
the
would have
AI
both.
didn't include the maiden name, just the name after the marriage.
Okay, but then it wouldn't work for me with my marriage record because I did not assume Mr. Myrt's name. My actual legal name is Richley. On social media, I'm Richley-Erickson because I love him.
On the ones that I've got, it's only showing the ones that you can listen to and whatever with the AI on the actual index things for England and Wales. It's not showing on the actual baptism or marriage records that I've got, parish records. So they've obviously not got round to doing the parish ones yet.
Okay.
On the thing, and it's showing on the census record, so it can go back to the early census records like the 1851. I'm not sure what it would do with the 1841 because that would only say whether you were born in the county or not. It wouldn't say exactly where you were born. So I'll have to have a listen to them and feedback.
Okay, sounds like a plan. You're going to be busy in the hour before you leave. Social Security record may have dates when the names change, but the transcription only lists the various names. I hope they keep the fiction out, says Valerie, or stay with facts or what the document states. That's partly why I was really glad. Remember when Leave had me click down below on the part that explained what Ellis Island was all about? They didn't take definitions and they really did focus on just that document in the original recording. The write-up later gave us context, and Leave had me click on the first one. Let's see. Okay, so Randy, I agree with a question for Marcia. The Social Security Applications database has the parents' names and other information about name changes. Certainly, a Social Security death index doesn't show all of those name changes. Yeah, she found the marriage record in 1945. Okay, we don't know the answer. Wonder if is using the image data and description of collections. I hear you, Sherry. I honestly don't know, but I think it's fascinating technology. Okay, so let us do this. Sherry's having challenges with, I want to do her segment next. So let's move everybody off the panel to increase bandwidth as far as StreamYard is concerned. And then we'll only bring Sherry up because I want her I want her bandwidth to shine. Sherry, you were quite compelled to bring this topic up, and you tenderly broached the subject saying, could we talk about this topic? Tell me why we were so tiptoeing around and careful about the topic, because I think it needs to come out. It's a good thing.
Right. So I had a friend message me on Facebook sharing a story, which we've seen several versions of this story on Facebook, where the child comes home from school with an assignment to fill out a family tree. And this child was adopted through the foster system and had an abusive parent situation. And she said, as a genealogist, knowing that I work in this space, how do we handle that? And I had told her that I said, we always record the truth, but that we're trying to be delicate with how we tell the story. And the story that Facebook had put on, the mother was noticing the anxiety of this child, and they set the assignment aside and they said, let's make a chart of the people we love.
Okay, wait a minute. We need to underline the assignment was the typical 8.5 by 11 or A4 sheet with the diagram of a family tree where the kid's name goes here, and then here's the parents, here's the grandparents, and that was it. And that was obviously difficult for this child. And you're noticing the foster parent could see the anxiety. He didn't want to do the topic. He didn't want to do the homework. Didn't want to even write. If it had been his dad or his mom, he didn't even want to think about it.
Well, and he said, and where do I put you? Where do I put the adoptive parent or the foster parent who they've now made a relationship with, right? So the form, as much as we love forms, did not accommodate his situation. And so the mom was really smart and just set it aside and said, let's make a tree of the people that we love. And then that went on to say, you know, we need to have teachers be more sensitive, because all of these classes now have kids with this mixed heritage, this mixed family dynamics for whatever reason.
The auntie, the foster parent, the grandpa down the street, the grandmother down the street that saw that he had a good breakfast on the way of walking to school. Those are the people around him that love that little kid. this reminds me of something. Remember Josh Taylor, young Josh Taylor, who is New York Historic and Genealogical? No, Genealogical and Biographical right now, but he was working for HisGen. He had a class that he was teaching with college-age students who were principally first-generation immigrant or children of immigrants, right? And like from Iran, no records, Iraq, Pakistan, some other countries, or from a country like in Africa where the tradition is oral history, not written certification of birth, marriage, and death, like Anglos, white Anglo European, Western European, well, European, are expecting to use to prove their lineages. And he started out with that kind of a record. Let's fill in your pedigree chart. It doesn't work, does it? I think you're locking up. Are you, Sherry? Can you hear me? Okay, she has.
Sporadically, I am locking up.
Okay. All right. So turn off your webcam. And I'll try to keep you in this conversation. If not, I'll pull panelists up. We'll be okay. So what Josh did was he had the students talk about what they did know. And he had them use technology to tell the story. So like they could interview, if their mom had come over, they could interview their mom. We've lost you again, I can tell. Sherry, you've done a great job discussing the beginning of this topic. Go ahead and go out to the YouTube side. Say your prayers that we get this going okay, and let me pull the panelists back up. Frank, would you do that? And while we do that, let me bring up, hi, Maria, the world's greatest neighbor. Beautiful way to build a tree, building a tree of the people you love. I want to make a fan tree of the people I love. I like that. Okay, we have one, thank you. The solution, yes, Frank, talk to me about this. This is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. As an adoptee myself, I totally understand that problem.
Absolutely. I understand it from a, okay, she's tried to come back, so I'll bring her back up. It's really not necessary that that she be on the stage. Claire, are you there? Yeah, there you are. And Sherry is
I'm here.
Okay. Okay. So panelists, talk to me. I mean, Jill, you talk about orphans. And talk to me about your reaction to this whole concept of that typical pedigree chart.
So we get, so I have a couple of kind of experiences. One is with the orphans, and the other is a presentation that I made at a middle school on starting their family history, which you run into the same sort of thing there. I didn't do it quite as well as the individual that Sherry shared with us with, include the people that you love. But I said, a hero, pick a hero. Any, it could be a basketball player, anything that is your hero, look at them and see. And so I just tried to make sure that everyone in the class knew that it didn't have to be your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Quote. Parents.
That makes sense when you talk about role models, particularly in your ethnic group.
Right. You may find that your role model has challenges throughout their life. And by showing that they have challenges like you as a child are having challenges, that's life affirming in so many ways. So I just try to make sure that whenever I'm talking to a group, a broad group, that I make sure that they realize that, you know, family is something you get to define, not something I get to define or that a form defines.
Right.
Certainly, the orphans caused another kind of issue, and that was an enormous number. Well, I'd say maybe half of, I don't know, maybe 25%. I was going to say half of half. About 25% of the orphans actually had someone put a public tree up. But of that, a large percentage of that remaining percentage actually had them shown as a daughter or a son. Yet in Ancestry, there is the ability to put adopted child. Unfortunately, most of these weren't adopted either. And so, yeah, and so you get them being labeled adopted on census reports a lot of time because the enumerator puts it that way. But the fact of the matter is, I have only identified 2 that were actually formally adopted out of my 46.
Well, and so we have to consider that a census record listing of an adoption or anything is very second, third,
very
fourth,
very suspect at all. And there were a couple of people that then I messaged and I said, did you know that this was an orphan train writer out of New York City? And they went, no, we didn't know that. And so so I said, well, it's really important, one, that you write CAS, the Children's Aid Society, and get the file. And the second one is take a DNA test.
Yeah.
Of everybody. Yeah.
Take a DNA test.
Take a DNA test, because this is usually now we're talking about grandchildren, because the last train was in 1929. And so to find family, you've got to get as high a generation as is living as possible. And right now it's grandchildren. And you really need those grandchildren to do it before great-grandchildren are the only group to be able to test, because it gets harder and harder.
Yeah. Yes. Hillary, there are a lot of children living in non-traditional families. And I don't know what traditional is myself. My parents were divorced. I'm glad of it. You know, I make no bones about it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Well, and you think about transgender families, you think about, multi relationships between multiple dads, multiple mothers, that sort of thing. So I just don't think that we can be as clear as our genealogical programs would like us to be. You know,
well,
what's a spouse anymore?
To their credit,
don't even know what a spouse is.
Yeah, to their credit, we can deal with in Roots Magic. We can deal with multiple. We could do the bloodline, of course. That's and we could do the adopted line, but there needs to be more. There need to be alternative relationships.
Yeah.
Hillary, talk to me, Hillary.
Yeah, in our country, people could be fostered. They could grow up in a children's home, so they may not be old enough to remember their parents if they were orphaned, whatever, and therefore they're in the children's home. I mean, that's not to include. It's not even including some of the more traditional, the things where, as you say, you've got people with the same sex being brought up by same-sex couples and all sorts. So really, there is no, there's probably very, there's so many permutations that a child might be with somebody, for one person for a short while and somebody else for a short while and never get adopted, but they might have a relationship that ongoing with somebody that's cared for them in their childhood.
Right. Thanks, Claire, for pointing out that Ancestral Quest. People may not know what AQ stands for. Ancestral Quest is another program that allows you to keep track of adopted and bloodlines. But it's almost like we need way more additional relationships so we can add an individual, because that, if this is a person that, I mean, this, we triangulate, we use triangulation when we try to identify a unique individual, and it's their friends, associates, and neighbors. We need to have more, a broader set of options in our genealogy software to record our conclusions about relationships, whether they're a witness on a will or they're a foster mother. I mean, you could have 5 or 6 foster parents, and what draws that person into the mix. Let's say I was in a foster home, and I may have done a blog post about that foster mother who has since passed away, a tribute blog post or something like that. If I don't have that in my genealogy database, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not getting the word out. If I don't have a blog, I'm not getting the word out. But if somebody else comes along and they knew their mother, because almost everybody in genealogy is now younger than we are, basically, their mother was fostered by that same woman, then the experiences I describe about the kitchen and how we did not like that she made us have castor oil every Friday night after we took our bath before we went to bed, that kind of thing, or that she you know, made a really good apple spice cake. Gosh, you know, sometimes having somebody else's view of what that was like can be valuable to the descendants of that other person. Most of the research that Mr. Myrt and I did when we went to the Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania, when they had this, the history library there, most of the work we did on his 31st Iowa were recollections that had been written down by other people in the 31st Iowa. His guy did not write what was going on during the Civil War when they were at this place or that. They were in Vicksburg. It was awful. We only know that our guy had trouble because of his eyes were affected by gunfire and smoke. But we didn't know about the rain. We learned that from somebody else and the recollections that were archived in that historical setting. And we want these words to get out. Just like Leave said, please read this story about her grand aunt. She was a wonderful person, and these are the traditions that have carried through in that family. Well, those are the very things we learn about because people like Leave tell the story. Any other comments? Let's see. Okay, so Monique is, okay, what were you going to say? Raise your hand so I can tell you want to talk. Okay, Miles, yes.
Yeah, I'll just mention that for several years I was teaching an after-school mentoring program for at-risk students, and we did an 8-week family tree genealogy program for them. And it was one of those things. If you don't want to talk about that side of your family, focus on the side of the family you want to talk about. Whether that's because of divorce or whatever it might be. Because what we were asking them to do was find records and build a story about an ancestor. And so they could choose who they wanted to bring in. And then after the end of the 8 weeks, then they presented their favorite ancestor to the class and, talked about why that person was their favorite ancestor that they felt they needed to bring to that class. But the other thing is, as we do more and more client research with DNA, we find more and more people who have a very complex, messy ancestry that they didn't know anything about. And so it's introducing that to people who thought they knew their family histories before, and now there's some new turn to it.
Absolutely. Let me bring in these 2 comments. First of all, thank you, Monique. She just went and looked at Family Search's family tree, and we see biological, adoptive, foster, guardianship, and step. And Sherry says Family Tree Maker supports 8 relationship labels, but it's hard to get a report to show them correctly. You'd have to do a custom report. I hear you. And Family Search also is a follow-on for Monique. Also has another section for other relationship to which you can add your own, such as neighbor or godparent. Okay, now I want to specifically address complex versus messy. And this is no reflection on Miles. But when he's a complex man, he's not messy. What I went through, I should have the right to use the word messy. And when Krista Cowan last fall said she said some families get messy. And I took umbrage at that because messy has a negative connotation. But complex accomplishes the same thing. Meaning many factors, right? Try not to be judgmental about it. I'm being judgmental about the word messy. That hurt. It actually hurt. And I told her that in my response to that video. And a lot of people said, "Oh, get over it, Myrt." Well, I wish I could, but anytime we use a word that has a negative connotation, even innocently, we're belittling the childhood experience. Okay, how about we switch gears? I think we adequately discussed the topic. Thank you so much. I think what we're learning is sensitivity and thoughtfulness. We're really good. I think the panelists and my followers are really good at making statements based on what a document says. And we're trying hard not to jump to conclusions that represent presentism or 21st century mindset on our point of view of history on, oh, that means this or, oh, that means that. We don't know that. We don't know the context of that situation of a illegitimacy. Remember Warren Bittner, who did Bittner's Bittner's Bastards of Bavaria, where it's a presentation that he gave. Warren Bittner is a highly qualified genealogist, and I served with him on the Utah Genealogical Association board. And he speaks at institutes, etc. The children weren't bastards. The parents were recognized as having been in a committed relationship. They had a number of children. It had to do with what they had to pay for marriage, what they had to pay to have their children christened. They eventually all got christened, or in our religion, it's a baby blessing.
So do you have the same negative reaction to the word illegitimate child, where the child itself is not illegitimate? It's an unmarried set of parents.
I know. I
try to avoid the word,
yeah,
actually, but that it's an interesting one because it's so ubiquitous. It's very difficult to kind of turn the train.
Well, that's the point of this discussion, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I also have a negative reaction about the word maiden for maiden name. I say it's birth name because maiden can have still a holdover of a negativity, I believe, of being a spinster.
Well, that was the word that came to mind. They obviously on many marriage certificates say that, spinster, mm-hmm. and it doesn't mean that she was beyond the age of
whatever.
She should have been married by then, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Spot on, Jill. And Valerie says, totally agree with Myrt. I didn't pay her to say that. Claire says, I agree. Good point. Choose positive. I wonder if I don't feel that sensitive to illegitimate because I just barely made it. They were married in, can't remember late May or early June, and I was born in January, so
I got you
barely
beat.
made it.
My grandfather was born 12 days after the marriage.
Yeah, that's just so common on the first child in a relationship. Anyway, yeah, and even today, some localities make it difficult for poorer people to actually get married or vote or this or that. Yeah. When we do not see, those of us who may have ancestors who are persons of color, if we didn't see them on a voter registration roll, it may not be because they were not interested or they weren't civic minded. About issues particularly in the South in that regard. Unplanned parentage. I don't mean to laugh, but I hear what you're saying. Oh my gosh, and I shouldn't be laughing because I'm trying to be very politically correct about all of this. It's so hard. All we can do is the best we can do. Yesterday, I think I wrote a post that in this day and age, I just don't even want to go to bed at night because I don't know what I'm going to wake up to in the news in the morning, like taking over countries and things like that. Use notes for each person in your genealogy software program, or add your own piece of notebook binder paper attached to that printed family group sheet or individual fact sheet if you are paper-based. Yeah, all I know is when I've had to quote something, for instance, where they use the N word when describing a person of color, and I've been doing a word-for-word transcription, I do two things, and I've only had to do this twice in my personal history. At the top of that blog post or whatever it was I was doing, I will say that this blog post contains a statement that is using the language that was considered appropriate at the time. This is an accurate word for word transcription, except that I will do N dash 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 R kind of a thing. Because first of all, that word just kills me. And other than finding I have an ancestor who had several slaves, enough of this. It's very difficult. All we can do is the best we can do. And apologize when we step on toes. And I am thankful for people who are people of color, or people who are deaf with a capital D, which means they were from birth, or deaf with a small letter D, which means they acquired it like I did. I'm thankful for people in these I don't even want to use the word other because there are no others. That implies this group and then other people in a different category. I am thankful for friends that help me understand the implications of words that we use. Gwenny is saying, I've been learning about petitions of free persons of color in New Orleans. My ancestor tried to buy land and thought the free person of color came with it. Oh, it's startling when we see things like that. Okay, how's our time? We're doing well. Miles, I really appreciate your sharing what you did in that after school program. It was easy for my grandkids to text me or call me on the phone when we were in Wyoming one time because they had a thing they had to do the next day on an ancestor, and I could say to them, here's this blog post on one of the ancestors, and they could look it up when they were in elementary school. But not everybody has a genealogist for a family member. Those are in the days when I could give Randy a run for his money and do 2 or 3 blog posts a day. Can't do that anymore. Okay, Miles. Yep.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit to that. After we did that 8-week program, Some of you may know Tanea Kuntz.
Yes.
She's a African-American genealogist. And she met with two of those kids several weeks after that and helped them prepare a talk on difficult research for a genealogy conference that we're putting on. So Tanea and two of the kids put on a presentation about how that class went and what they learned about their families during that program.
That's cool.
Wow, that is so positive on many levels. Intergenerational communication involving the younger ones. Yeah, and real life experiences versus book learning kind of thing. Excellent work. All right, where is our docket? Let me go find that and see where we are here. Okay, so our question of the week is, we've been talking all around it, but what is family to you? Let me just canvass panelists and members of the community out there on the YouTube side. Who do you see as members of the family as you see it? The ones that you love and the ones that love you. Sometimes I wonder about my dad. No, I can joke. Okay, Randy.
Anyone you love. I like that.
Okay.
And it could be a neighbor. It could be, the teacher. It could be, your friend.
When I hate to use a personal example, but when my daughter Carrie was growing up and maturing into young womanhood, she had a best friend. And that best friend practically lived at our house all the time. And as girls mature, they have to buy certain kind of underwear for the upper part of their torso. And my daughter needed it, and this otherwise known as a sister, best friend, also needed that. And I took her, they were together when we went shopping, and so we got, that's the kind of relationship that we need to be able to document, where there's a closeness like that. That's the same girl that when I was getting frustrated over packing to move and I was a little sharp, she looked at me and she said, "I think somebody needs a hug." That's a pretty cool young gal. She's now a mother with two beautiful children. Okay. Frank, what's family from your point of view?
I think what comes close would be the word community.
Close-knit community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful word, isn't it? Ellen, your turn.
For me, I have a lot of the people that we were discussing this morning. My great grandfather was adopted. My grandfather was born out of wedlock. So family can be a lot of different people, but I mean, whoever I capture, I think, is what's important. So,
complex. It's a matter of not even worrying about the complexity of it. It's just who is that person? Who is that person?
And having them recorded so that their stories are not lost. That's what I think is important.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Claire, do you want to unmute your mic and tell us about family from your point of view?
From my point of view, I didn't have any grandparents because my grandparents were all gone before I came on the scene. And so my parents' siblings, my aunts and uncles, they stepped up to the plate. And my aunt was like my grandmother, really close to my aunt, and she's like more of a grandmother than she would have been. And I think that aunts and uncles, as well as the community, the people that you rely on, your best friend that's been with you for donkey's years, so to speak, and grown up with you all those times when things really were rough, because there's no perfect families, and so I think that is who you rely on, who you turn to the most. It was so neat to be able to call my aunt up and go visit her and air out my problems and discuss them, because she seemed to understand them a little better than my own mom. Even though she was around, there was just a lot of things different. And so I think that lots of times we don't think about the extended family. And so I think the extended family has to be included. And I like the way that mostly all of the genealogy programs, have the way that you can add in another type of relationship, because I think that that's really important to you, to the person that you're doing it for. And so you can come up with those complicated family issues, and where there's an adoption or whatever, and you put in what will be right for that person. And I don't think that we should be limited to just the standard family, because there's no such thing as normal. There really isn't. Auntie and Harriet might have
Either
had.
we're all normal or we're all nuts.
That's right. And my mom always would say that you got to be a little crazy in this world to make it, and I really believe that's true.
Oh, and I reflect on you being that kind of friend for me. Remember a couple of times my coming to your cubicle in the offices at the Family Search Library, not knowing where to go next, as far as the politics.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about where to go next on the climb my family tree, but you've certainly helped there, especially with some of our British military work we've done in the past. Yeah, you are a dear, dear friend. So for me, it's dear, dear friends.
Yeah. Same
Jill, anything more about family? Then we'll go to Leave and Miles.
I would just challenge everybody to think about two things. One would be, are there instances where family is defined as only your genetic family, and then there's a social family? So are there, in fact, layers of family, and we just lack vocabulary in how to define them? And then the second piece about that is, how do you document social families? Because it's pretty obvious most programs, ancestries set up to do genetic families, but not so good about social families. And that aunt down the street that served as a mother to you or a grandmother to you, how do you get that person included so that people know in the future, 2 to 3 decades, 2 to 3 generations from now, what that relationship was? And so, right. So I'm just challenging everybody to think about it in perhaps layers, and think about it in perhaps a different way. So
I hear what you're saying. When you fill out a medical family tree, it's really important, the parents, and not quite as important on the grandparents, and then your siblings. So that's a different
that's a different layer also, is your medical
for very
side.
Specific reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, this genealogist walked into her gene doctor and gave her death certificates for great-great-grandparents. She goes, I didn't even know that they could diagnose cancer back then. I go, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did. Thank you. Leave. Do you see how your post got us going on this and led us right into Sherry's and what is a family? Thank you so much. Anything more you want to say, and then we'll go to Miles?
Just a small one, like Shelley, who is my second cousin. She was we lost touch with her family for 5 or 10 years, and it was very important for my uncle especially to find her again, because there was a bond here. So I did some research, and I found her on the internet, and I found her after a long time. And even though we don't speak or communicate often, it's a bond there. It's an important bond there. So yesterday she helped me make the blog post. She found some pictures and gave me some background. It's so sweet, and it's important.
It's very important. It's just like me and Claire. We don't get to talk to each other every day. We wish we could, but there is a bond there that when we do get back together, it's like nothing, like no time had passed.
Yeah, that's
you just pick it right up.
Yeah, good
That's
friends. You pick it up.
Yep, you do. Okay, Miles, you get to have the last word on this topic.
Oh boy.
No pressure.
Yes,
No pressure.
No pressure. No. And you know, I appreciate everybody's concepts of family. You know, I tend to narrow my family down to those people I grew up with, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, my parents, my siblings, and think of them as family. But I also have my genealogy family, and that's you know, I do my research back hundreds of years, and I know people that, you know, we're related from the 5th, 6th, 7th great grandparents, and we plan things together. You know, we do a trip to Germany every 2 years, do a heritage tour every 2 years. I do the research for the tour, and we have a lot of fun doing that for a couple of weeks. My wife, on the other hand, she has a very different concept of family than I do. Her father was married multiple times, and so she has a lot of steps that she, you know, had. She says,
"Believe me, I have that messiness."
Yeah, they're older than her, and so, but she, you know, she's contacted many of them, and she's built relationships. She has relationships with, you know, second, third cousins. I don't tend to have that kind of relationship with my extended cousins lines, but I think it's, you know, a lot of it has to do with how people are raised too, because she was always raised with the second and third cousins being associated. They had events, they had activities together. On my side of the family, you know, we focused just in on my mother's siblings and my father's siblings, and we had a very small family group.
You know, from a researcher's point of view, we want to know of the siblings, because my greatest breakthroughs have been with the sibling of my ancestor, who was more into family history or saving things, etc. Okay, here's what the community has to say. The family I was born with and the ones I've acquired along the way. Very good, Kathleen. Bill says, I have a number of people I consider my chosen family. They're as important to me, and in some cases more important, as my bio family. Boy, do I get that. And Gwenny says, I was an only child. It's a blessing to be close to my sister-in-law. Yeah, there's just certain people that it just works. It clicks like that. And Miles, to your genealogy family, of other genealogists, I agree with Valerie. We were part of the AOL genealogy forum, and we are all like family, sharing all kinds of things, and have even gotten together in person. This is true. That just, Valerie, when you think about the people that were in leadership over there, or were chat hosts over in the AOL genealogy forum, they're the ones that have been leading, like the African American genealogy. Somebody's typing, so I can't hear. It's pounding. But anyway, I hear you, Valerie. And at time, I wish my second family was my primary family. It's funny, not funny, boy. Miriam says, I think most of us have many families. I have a church family. I have work families. I definitely have a genealogy family. I'm fortunate to have a loving family that also shares my DNA. This is true. My babysitter, since I was 3 months old, I will always call my second family. Valerie says, I love Mrs. Martin, who came to clean on Fridays because she'd make my mom buy groceries. We weren't poor. Someone should talk to Bruce Busby about including a social family. Love that idea. How about you, Maria? Send him a note. My church family. My aunt hosted a New Year's Eve party. A friend brought a friend, turned out to be an unknown second cousin. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Yes. And hi, Barbara. I love the breadth of this discussion. Thank you all. We just never know what's going to happen on Mondays with Myrt. Okay. And this is to Jill. I like your layers of family and social families terminology. My grandparents lived far away, so we always had an older couple in our neighborhoods that we called Grandpa and Ma. Oh, that reminds me of Uncle Arnold, who lived diagonally across the street from us on Perkins Lane in Seattle. His house was scary because he has like tiger head and moose head and stuff. He was a hunter, and he went to Africa, and he went to Montana. And so, but anyway, I digress. Yeah, I hear you. I love this conversation. I really, truly do. Okay. All right. I cannot figure out how to turn off that comment because I'm on the wrong page. So let's do a lightning round, and let's mention, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. I think I had it on just the things that I starred. Family Search Labs is suggesting that we do something. Also, let's bring up Amy Johnson Crow and her new things for the year. And Randy, we want to do your simple search option, but I'm going to pull up the Family Search Labs thing first. So I read about this. We love the BYU Family Search Labs work that they're always doing. I'm going to have to sign in. I don't want to do that. They have released a new way to do the full text record searches using everyday language. That means no search form to fill in multiple tabs. So try simple search. That was the point of this. Let me share that link with y'all. He may have already done that. I don't know. All righty. Thank you. Thank you for that. The other thing we want to talk about is I love the work that Amy Johnson Crow does in sharing with us 52 motivational topics every single year. Let me be here. Zoom in. And these are the themes for 2026. Randy, and those of you that have done this, talk to me about how this has impacted the research that you did before AI in particular, Randy.
Well, it really organized me. I started the first year in 2014, and I decided early on that I would do my Onentafel chart as far as I could. And so I did 52 ancestors. It got me back into the third great grandparents, except for the two that I didn't know about because of an adoption. And but that was how it started. It was write about your ancestors, and I chose to do one ancestor a week. Okay, and I wrote genealogical sketches. I ended up doing that for 10 years. And have over 500 genealogical sketches. They're imperfect, but I have them. And now what I'm doing with AI is improving on that and writing engaging stories based on the sketches. And in the process of doing that, I improve the sketches. So it's had an effect. I don't do the ones now because, I've written about most of those things already.
Mm-hmm. So the work that you did initially with your 500 some odd posts, is that one of the things that AI loves to work from?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because, I've said it before, as an engineer, I like facts. I can't write creatively. I don't write with emotion, but I have facts. And so the genealogical sketches and the models are, of course, the articles in NGSQ or New England Register, whatever, with sources. And so, it was a no-brainer at the time, and I'm happy I did it.
I get that. So, folks, there you've got the link. This is a great motivator. I don't know what your goals are for 2026 and what you hope to accomplish. We've lost Ellen's sound. So, yeah, Ellen, it's a good thing you're getting a better headset today. I can't believe it. It's always something, but it's all good. All right, let me pull up two things that Randy has done along this line. On Saturday Night Genealogy Fun, which is another motivating writer's prompt type thing, talk to me about this, about your goals, and then what you did as a result. How this goals thing, the infographic. Whoops, that's too zoomed in. Let me share the screen, and we'll zoom out just a little so we can see more of it. Go for it, Randy.
Well, that's the graphic in the blog post.
Yes.
So every year I try to write down what I hope to do. These are hopes, not really. I often get sidetracked. And last year I got sidetracked. And this year I added 4 more, but I deleted 3, I think, from last year. Because I either didn't do them or whatever, or I didn't do them well.
What sidetracked you? AI?
Yeah, well, no. Not much, I guess. One every day right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but this graphic is is much better than my blog post. It took my wordy blog post with 13 different goals, if you will, and it makes it look like I'm organized. That's cool.
We used to struggle with opening screens on our PowerPoint, and AI is really awesome for helping us come up with really colorful, dynamic graphics. So I thought you were pretty good on your research and database management work, but it looks like you want to bring in your DNA analysis more. Is that part of? I see this as part of it.
It's part of it because it was a goal, has been for years. I'm kind of stuck in DNA. Many of us are, because we've managed to find the low-hanging fruit for common ancestors. And last year I switched from basically 80% research and 5% writing to about 50% writing and 50% everything else. So content creation and new media now is where I'm most interested in. I tend to do what I'm interested in. Okay. I got bored by ancestry hints. I got bored by DNA matches that I could never find a common ancestor for. So
it's just too remote or too complicated.
Yeah, AI has kind of rescued me in that regards. I can make up stories now based on my research. So.
Okay, and in the creation of new content creation, you're doing really well. It looks like they all have to do with artificial intelligence based on the fact that you have already accumulated a great deal of documentary evidence on your ancestry.
Yeah, and that's the key. Okay, I tell it, don't invent anything. Just write about what I give you. And now we have additional tools with, especially with Google Notebook LM. It'll create now this infographic like this. It'll create a slide deck to tell your story in 12 to 15 slides that you can then put into Google Slides, and then take the slideshow into Google Vids. And if you have an account with Google that's more than just a simple one, it will give you a narrated slide presentation. And so that's where we are right now. Okay. But what do we have next year? I don't know.
I don't know either. I will have to take the next advanced AI course from Steve Little and Mark. Under community and continuous learning, serve in the genealogy community. You do serve it locally and also globally. One part of it being here on Mondays with Myrt. Even from not from a content point of view, the contributions you make, but you also help me a great deal, providing the links and posting them so that the links we visit work, and I can just concentrate on being nice as a hostess interviewing people, which is sometimes a challenge. I only did 3 things of Kleenex today with tears, but anyway. And pursuing ongoing education. As a member of the Association of Professional Genealogists, this is something I do. Well, I do it anyway because I've got to keep up. What webinars do you find useful to watch? Leave mentioned Connie Knox, and I consider her an up-to-the-minute breaking news, let's go experiment type person. What webinars do you like to watch?
I watch Family Tree webinars all the time. I have a yearly account, a yearly subscription to that. It's like another genealogical society with expert presenters,
Yeah.
And I can watch 2,600 different presentations when I want to. Because I write genealogy education bites every week, I look at about 150 different YouTube channels every week, at least look at. And listen to the ones that are of most interest. I'm always finding new YouTubers. There's new podcasters. Robin Stewart at GenStack highlights podcasters and videos on YouTube, in addition to blog posts on Substack. So there's all that to do. People ask, what do you do for all day long? And I say, well, that's part of it, that's the 10% part that's kind of hidden that keeps you up to date.
Yeah. I have 2 Feedly feeds that I have it pull in podcasts and YouTube, the subscriptions that I follow, and you're right. You can't watch 150 full videos, but you can see the trends of what people are talking about. And then you look at the ones that interest you, as you say, be it that you're focusing on DNA more recently or writing or citations or whatever. And one good thing about Family Tree webinars is the fact that they have amassed, if you're a member, you get all the handouts. You have access to all of the handouts. And some of the presenters don't limit it to 4 pages. It used to be we had to limit when we'd go to NGS or FGS or any kind of regional conference when they did the printed syllabus materials, that they would only let you have 4 pages. Well, because we're in the digital age, we can have many pages more than that. And luckily, some very tech-savvy genealogists genealogy presenters are very good at providing a QR code or a link that takes you to an addendum page that during the course of their seminar or their presentation, certain other topics will come up and they'll say, I'll put it on that page on my Google, in a Google Doc. Here's the link to the Google Doc. But when you go there on day one, it's kind of blank except for their logo. I wish that more presenters would do that because it's really hard to take notes. So it's all good. All right. Guys, I know that I need to take a break because we do have session 1 of book club, and I have not pulled my panelists together for book club. We're planning, let me have everybody go to the wings except for me. We're going to be working on the Strip Bear Guide to Citing and Using History Sources, and this was to be our first session today. And literally, to be without internet except on your phone for 2.5 weeks, and not always that on your cell phone, it's a very humbling experience. It makes you appreciate all the technology that we do have at our fingertips that we just seem to take for granted. So so I will have an orientation for book club. It'll probably just be me unless any of my panelists want to join. That is a different link. So when you are on Dear Myrtle's archive YouTube channel, the link is already there. And you will be able to join me. So all you have to do is, let me show you my YouTube channel. Well, I'm not doing. You all know how to find me. You're better at this than I am. Yeah, I'll pull it up. There we go. It's coming up. And am I sharing my screen or not yet? Not yet. There we go. So, of course, this is what we're doing live right now. All of the new videos appear under live because we are doing live streaming direct from StreamYard. My older videos appear under video, plus some of the things that, current interviews, etc. There I am with Barbara, and she's agreeing with me. I love it. But anyway, the next one will be the Strip Bear Guide, and that is the link that you'll want to use. Let me get the shared link and share it with you. Copy that and send it out. The Strip Bear Guide to Citing and Using History Sources by Elizabeth Shown Mills is a very tiny book. But it is jam-packed full of really good advice. This is the book that I'd recommend we refer. Oh gosh, I've got one of these newfangled webcams and I didn't move, it's moving. It's really zoomed in. So we're going to tackle it. Let's go do that. And there's really nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Thank you to everyone for being here today, handling a set of complex discussions very maturely, very thoughtfully, as well as practical advice on how to use some new options available. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.